Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 and the conclusion of this replay between myself and Lojo here on Lost Temple right now. Here he has a group of 7 Stalkers against my 3 Siege Tanks and 1 Hellion that's currently already low on hit points. Gonna go ahead and start up this replay once again. Hellion gets taken down, a couple of Vikings going back into that ground mode, trying to fight back even more. One of those Siege Tanks is not in Siege mode, so luckily it is dealing a lot of that damage right now. Siege Tanks deal 15 plus 10 versus armored units. And I'm hoping to show a very, very good use of these siege tanks in just a little bit. SCVs now repairing those Vikings, as I'm very, very mech based, so I want to try to heal up these units. At this time, I've really pushed back a single force, so I'm assuming that he's not going to try to continue that force, as I was easily winning that particular fight. So instead, I'm going to try to take out these destructible rocks over here at this gold position. And now, if I can take down these destructible rocks, perhaps get another expansion underway. Somehow I misclick and I pull these units back before those destructible rocks are cleared. Once again, I'm going to move back with those siege tanks, try to take them out. 4 siege tanks, a couple of Vikings, easily going to take out the rest of those destructible rocks, and I'm going to set up another expansion for myself, sitting on now 700 minerals. Going to set up that expansion and get an engineering bay as well, as I think I want a planetary fortress in this particular position. An engineering bay, building up for that planetary fortress. Now moving out with the rest of that army. So army now moving out, and now we have over here my main army. So my main army sitting in this position and now moving out. I have a group of 4 siege tanks, 1 or 2 Vikings in that group. Here, let me click on this as it's not really following it. And as I'm just using this, and I want to be able to use these Vikings and these siege tanks very, very effectively. I do a quick scan, make sure that he doesn't have any additional expansions as well. And now moving here to that south-hand side, and I think I'm going to catch him expanding here. No, I don't. He hasn't even had an expansion yet. So here I am. I have 5 siege tanks. I'm only going to siege 1 of them. I want to leave the other 4 unsieged. And the reason why I want to leave them unsieged is I think that he's going to try to blink into my position and get within that 0 range of my siege tank. So I'm going to go ahead and siege up another one and then siege back the closer one so I can continue to shoot a little bit more, use that upgrade, use that and looking onto that higher ground. Stalker's quickly going to blink in and then realize that the rest of my siege tanks are not sieged. So those siege tanks able to just destroy those Stalkers. And now it's just a couple of Marines left, a single Viking up in the air as well, but that Viking on that ground mode able to just continue to push in, and now I have, what, two siege tanks, a couple Marines, and an SCV still doing some more repairing, going to try to push up this ramp now. As I continue to push up this ramp and try to continue to deal damage toward these buildings right now, the tanks almost deal more damage unsieged. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but the siege tanks unsieged deal more damage towards armored units. The rate of speed at which they attack is very, very fast. So if you look at that attack speed, it's normal. So it's dealing and it's shooting so often that it almost outweighs it does what? It does 25 damage per round, and I think it almost shoots twice as fast, more than twice as fast as a siege tank in siege mode. So this is how I'm dealing so much damage. You look at that siege tank, fire. Yeah, see, that siege tank is just firing so much slower against this siege tank, which is going fire. So yeah, this siege tank in unsiege mode does deal more damage against armed units. So that is a little bit of a surprise to me. That siege tank unsieged does deal more damage, so remember that whenever you're playing. It's just when you're fighting against light units, say zealots or marines, that you want to finally siege it against, as that bonus damage or the base damage of that siege tank in siege mode is so much higher. More marines coming in. I'm just going to continue to flood. I'm now more focusing on this particular map control right now, as I want to really take out this base. I take out the Nexus, and my opponent is not being revealed. That is a very, very important thing to note. If my opponent is not being revealed, he has another Nexus somewhere. So I need to be able to switch my mentality right now and figure out where his additional expansion might possibly be. And just keeping track of that. Wow, the attacking is just so loud. So siege tanks continue to move out. 1 siege tank still siege in that back mode right now. As I continue to move out with these siege tanks destroying these pylons, and now finishing off the rest of that base. Only a single probe being left behind here. I think I see it. down in this position, and now I'm trying to macro back up right now as I'm sitting on a lot of minerals, 2,000 minerals. Gonna go ahead and build a reactor and start trying to spam out some Hellions, as those Hellions are a fairly expensive unit. Here comes those Zealots, and those Zealots now trying to push in, and Zealots with charge very, very strong, so I'm going to be forced to raise up that supply depot again, and now Zealots pushing into my expansion right now. So he has those 10 Zealots and a single Void Ray. I'm going to go ahead and lift up my units, and I really want to be able to find out where the rest of his army is. I see, in fact, that there's these warp gates here, so I'm going to go ahead and try to take, I don't realize there's a Void Raid up in the air, so I'm going to go ahead and go back into air mode, quickly take down that Void Raid, and come back into ground mode. Meanwhile, back at this fight over here, Zealots are just sitting in position right here, so all I can really do is just try to use Hellions and a couple of Vikings in order to hold this attack back right now. A single supply depot is all that's really holding them back, trying to take down those supply depots. Zealots are still getting destroyed though by that single Hellion. Hellion is able to deal so much additional splash damage. More Zealots now trying to come back into play. More Hellions being produced, Marines coming out as well, and I'm going to be able to clean up the rest of this particular fight and right here. Stay tuned for thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I hope to see you guys on Battle.net.